Hey guys, how's it going? Today, Lauren and I went to check out some wedding venue stuff. We've decided on a venue, so we're really excited about that, getting married. But that's really exciting, and I got an opportunity to walk around all of Laguna and check out all of these amazing hotels to try to figure out where just all these things are doing. It's really exciting. But I was talking with a really amazing sister in Christ who was helping us with all that, Camille, and she asked us how we met, and it was such an awesome opportunity to talk about how Lauren and I met, and I realized I've actually never talked about that on here, and so you know after my first round of chemo, my first well, I'll start by saying in about 2016 Thanksgiving, we were doing something at youth group when I was one of the leaders at youth group, where we would pray for something, um, praying for something after God's heart. I think it was something like that. And it was praying for what we're thankful for. And I don't know, for some reason, whatever the situation, it came to mind. I thought, what I want to pray for tonight is for wisdom. And I know there's like people who are always like, oh, you got to be careful when you pray for stuff like that because like it could go kind of go wrong. And I'm thinking, nah, I'm ready, and I want whatever God has for me, whatever it is. Give me wisdom, and um and so I prayed, God, give me wisdom. I don't care what it is, that whole ocean song, take my feet deeper than they would ever wander. Let's do it. And a couple years later, I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's, and man, whew, was not expecting that. But I said to I knew, you know what? God had told me, I'll give you wisdom, and you just gotta trust me through it. So I didn't know what to expect, what He had in store for me, but I knew, no matter how much time I had left, I was gonna live it for Him. Well, um, I also decided to do this video blog, and here we are. About 6 months later, I was having my last chemo session. Every time I went into chemo, it was the same day, same time, and it was really consistent. And on the last session, apparently something fell through the cracks, and they forgot to schedule me. So a friend at the hospital said, "Don't worry, I'll take care of it," and they rescheduled me. But it was for like another time. It was like later in the night, and it was like everything that I was not wanting to do late in the evening. Then my night would be all messed up. All these things. I was like, oh, this is gonna be the worst. Ugh. But it was my last chemo session. I wanted to make a party of it, so I invited a bunch of friends, and so I had like 8 people come with me. And here we are in the lobby, and so we go in, and they say to the nurse who I was gonna get, "Hey, is it all right if he brings his party in?" And I had like all these friends and my mom, and she said, "Oh yeah, totally, no problem, go ahead." So we all stuffed into this little bed area, and we're just chilling out there, sitting and chatting and having a good time. And this nurse, for some reason, she like came around pretty often, and my mom was like talking with her. Oh, where'd you go to college, or where you grew up, and all this. And it turned out we went to the same college, and she had lived her whole life in Glendora, like pretty near us, and we knew some of the same people, ironically or coincidentally. And but she kept coming by, and it was like, oh, this is a great opportunity to get to know this girl. Apparently, she was going on a trip to Spain for a little while, and so we had this whole thing about the rain in Spain and all that from that musical. So anyway, so at the end of chemo, I said, I'm doing this video blog. I take a picture with all my nurses. I don't think that was a fib, but basically I was saying like, I want to like log this for posterity. And she's like, oh yeah, sure. So we took a picture together, and she said, hey, send that to me, because I was like wearing my typical chemo Hawaiian shirt, and not this one, the black and white one, and some cowboy boots. And so it was a pretty unique picture. But I said, sure, but I'll have your number. And so she gave me her number, and I sent her the picture. Then I called, or I was texting her, but she was in Spain, and I had forgotten. So I thought she was snuffing me, or snubbing me. Is that the right word? I'm sorry if that's a bad word. I don't. She was like putting me off, saying, "Nah, I'm not interested." It seemed like she was saying she wasn't interested. Then she got back from Spain, and she's like, "Hey, just got back from Spain and got your messages. Yeah, we should totally go on that hike we talked about, because we were like talking about a hike." And I was like, oh, yeah, okay, sure, let's go on a hike. How about tomorrow or something like that? And she said, actually, I'm going to Texas tomorrow. And so I'm like, okay, sure, maybe when you get back. She gets back from Texas, and and I had written her off again. I'm like, she's probably like not interested. She's just saying, oh, and then she said, hey, want to go on another hike? I'm like, oh yeah, sure, let's go on a hike, okay. And she goes, oh, but I'm busy. I got my birthday, and we're celebrating with family, and I can't go on the hike. And I'm like, understandable, understandable. But this consistent like putting me off, I was like, I swear, she's not interested. Finally, she goes, all right, let's go on a hike, or let's go. So finally, I got to take her on a date. After like probably like 5 weeks of continually texting and like talking about fun stuff, and it was like flirty and fun, but I could have sworn a few times, man, she was not interested in me. Anyways, we finally started dating, and she was a really cool girl, and she really liked me, and it had turned out that that later that girl and I would be getting married. And that's how I met Lauren. She was my last chemo nurse of my first round of chemo. And then, of course, the nightmare of any oncology nurse, she started dating me and then I relapsed. So, ugh, she went through that with me as well. And man, what a roller coaster, what a ride it's been. Um, we've been through a lot together like that. But I'll tell you, coming through all of that and coming to the end now, well, not the, well, the end of the cancer and the beginning of a journey with Lauren. Um, it's such an answer to prayer. Some of the things I think that God has taught me over this time were, you're not wrong when you say, hey, when you ask for stuff like wisdom, God provides. And sometimes it's in a way that some might be scared of. I mean, it is scary. It is scary. It's scary. Like, it's scary. You say, hey, give me wisdom. And if you go through cancer and God's going to teach you wisdom through that, and I'm not sitting here proclaiming that God gives cancer to people as an answered prayer. That's not the debate I'm trying to start or anything like that. But my point is, I asked for cancer. I didn't. I asked for wisdom, and God gave wisdom, and He gave miracles. And throughout this process, there's been a number of miracles, and although it's been really a hard thing, and not every time you go through a hard thing do you just come out at the end with good things. Sometimes hard things are kind of just hard. Sometimes that's how death feels. Sometimes that's just how some things feel. But I'll tell you, the hard thing that I went through, I came out of it with a number of miracles. Even though it was really hard, I came out with many miracles that I think, one of them being wisdom. I mean, not to say I'm at the pinnacle of wisdom, but I certainly have. I think I've grown in wisdom, and and I came out with a fiance. Thank God, because that day that I thought was going to be a really m- bad day, turned out to be the day I'd meet my future wife, and yeah, so not the way I expected to be meeting my future wife, and definitely not her expectation either. For her, she had gone through a hard day that day as well. Uh, I'm going to say customer, brain, a a patient of hers was really mean, and so she was having a bad day too. And then she met me, and I was like, "Bubbly Dean, hey!" And I brightened up her day. So again, she thought it was gonna be a bad day, and then she ended up meeting me, and we had a great time together. Uh, and then following weeks of us kind of trying to sort out, well, you're my patient and I'm your nurse. Is it okay if I date you? And me going like, I'm gonna call City of Hope and ask. So I did. There was no policy about it, and that's why we kind of came to the conclusion it wasn't such a big deal. But anyways, long story short, yeah, that's kind of the story of how I met Lauren. All in a nutshell. It comes obviously goes back to me getting cancer. One of the many miracles that I've had through this process. And yeah. Anyways, I will reaffirm the thing about saying be careful when you ask for wisdom or when you ask for patience or something like that from God. When you pray for those things, and you pray for them wholeheartedly with your heart, with you, and you believe that, and you want those things truly, and God will not hold back. And it doesn't mean He's gonna like slap you with a bunch of hardship, but He might, and it's a good thing. I think it can be a good thing. I mean, for me, it was a good thing, and I think it is a good thing. Anyways, I hope you're having a wonderful day. So, talk to you later.